To Gedgehammer Reviews TV edition, where we're smashing through stories that matter, and today we are diving into a show that has hit me harder than I possibly expected it could have done. A show that somehow has found humour in heartbreak and warmth, grief, and how it can turn into chaos. This is Shrinking, and for me, this isn't just another great show. It could be my favourite TV show of all time. Now, I don't say that lightly. I've watched thousands of hours of television, from massive Marvel sort of epics to slow burn dramas, but Shrinking is the rare show that manages to feel real. It doesn't just entertain you, it sits with you. It lingers in your head for days after you've finished an episode, and every time I rewatch it, I feel like it's a different kind of therapy. This show is absolute mustard. There's something raw about the way that Shrinking begins. Okay, we've got Jason Segel. He's playing Jimmy Laird. Now, this isn't a man trying to find happiness. He's just trying to stay upright. And we meet him at his lowest point. He's drinking too much. He's ignoring his daughter. He's zoning out through his therapy sessions with the very people that he's supposed to be helping. It's brutal, but it's also refreshingly human. And when I first saw that opening sequence of, sort of Jimmy in his backyard, beer in his hand, I knew this wasn't going to follow the usual sitcom formula. There's no laugh track behind this. There's no easy resolution. It's a man who's drowning, and he's literally and emotionally trying to stay afloat by pretending that he's absolutely fine. And that is the brilliance of this show. It shows you that grief without romanticising it. It's not poetic sadness or movie tears. It's awkward, it's messy, full of inappropriate jokes at the wrong times, and yet it still finds beauty in that mess. It holds such a weight and such a show for everybody that's involved. But what makes this so powerful is how it balances that heartbreak with humour, and you can't tell it's from the minds of Ted Lasso. We've got Brett Goldstein, Bill Lawrence, but where Lasso is about optimism, Shrinking is about recovery. It's what happens when the storm is over and you're standing in the wreckage trying to rebuild something resembling what life looked like beforehand without a key piece of that story. Every character in this show is broken in their own way, but it's not in a sort of tragic self-pity sense. They're broken, real people. They're cracked, they're dented, but they're still carrying on. And that's why it hits so deeply. But Jason Segel here, I grew up seeing him as that goofy guy. How I Met Your Mother is one of my favourite shows of all time. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I Love You Man. He was always that lovable mess, but here he channels something completely different. He's not just sad, he is empty, and he plays it with this quiet, unflinching honesty that never feels forced. He's not giving performance here, he's confessing. There's an early line in the show where Jimmy tells one of his patients, sometimes you just have to do something radical. It's reckless, but it sums up where he's at emotionally. He's done playing it safe, and so is this show. It doesn't follow any traditional structure. You got Harrison Ford, and my God, I didn't expect to say this, but he gives one of the best performances of his career, especially Series 2. It could have easily been a one-note, grumpy old therapist cliche, but instead Ford plays him with that rare tenderness. He's still got that sarcasm, the dry eye-rolling humour that we all love, but beneath it there's fear, vulnerability and deep understanding of what it means to get older and not understand at times. And there's a scene where he opens up about his Parkinson's diagnosis, and it's not played for tears or sentiment, he just admits it, but with quiet resignation. And the power of that moment comes from how still it is. He doesn't need to overact whatsoever, and it's devastating. I've watched him my entire life, Han Solo, Indiana Jones, all of these characters that we know and love, but in Shrinking he's finally allowed to just be human, and it's beautiful. It's such a great character to watch. Jessica Williams as Gabby, it might be one of the secret weapons of the show. She's the energy that this needs. Unpredictable, vibrant, hilarious, completely unfiltered. She's going through her own reinvention, of course, post-divorce, and watching her dance with that pain and the infectious confidence, it makes her instantly relatable. We can all put up a front in chaos. She brings that, though, to every scene. And her friendship with Jimmy, it feels lived in. It's like two people who've seen each other at their absolute worst, but still choose to stay in each other's lives. There's real affection there. And that's the emotional glue that gives Shrinking its heartbeat. And I love watching every single second of this. We've then got Alice, we've got Jimmy's daughter, played beautifully by Lukita Maxwell. Her relationship with Jimmy is the emotional spine of the series, and it's where all of the relationships start to build off. You feel her frustration because Jimmy isn't just, he's not just having a bad day, he's grieving. He's lost his wife and he doesn't know how to connect with the one person who needs him the most. But as the show progresses, you start to see these small, fragile attempts at reconnection. The scene where Alice finally sort of lets her walls down, but there's no grand speech. It's just a quiet look across the table. It's something, there's no dialogue needed. It's just pure honesty. And that is Shrinking in an absolute nutshell. It doesn't tell you how to feel. It just shows you and trusts the actors and it trusts that you as the audience. And then we've got Brian, played brilliantly, unbelievably by Michael Urie. He is the light in the darkness. He's funny, he's full of love, and he represents that genuine friendship and what it looks like. The kind that isn't about fixing someone, it's about being there whilst they're broken. His dynamic with Jimmy reminds us that healing isn't something you do alone. Sometimes it takes you the right people to pull you back into the world. And Urie brings a sincerity that keeps the show from ever falling down when heavy. He smiles, you smile. He cries, you're gutted. And his wedding arc and sort of that pure joy, it's rare that a show can make you cry from happiness, but this show nails it. I've cried from sadness in this show too. But, I mean, I want to talk about why this works so well beyond its cast, because on paper, this shouldn't be groundbreaking. It's a therapist who loses his wife and learns how to live again. We've seen that sort of setup before, but what sets Shrinking apart is how honest it is. Every line of dialogue feels real. Nobody speaks in perfect sentences. People interrupt, deflect, make bad jokes to avoid their feelings. Just like real life, but there's no Hollywood glass on this. It doesn't... The writing is what I'd call controlled chaos. Every scene feels like it could go off the rails, yet it never does. The writers understand that human rhythm and the weird pain and laughter dance that is going on. It's a show about therapy that somehow ends up being therapy itself. How to lose somebody, nobody knows how to deal with it, but it becomes something that was special for me. It wasn't a big dramatic twist, it was a small scene. It was Jimmy sitting on the porch and sort of finally admitting to Paul that he's not okay. And it's okay not to be okay. But, Paul, the way that Paul even helps him and comes back with him, it's such a simple exchange, but it floored me because that's what growth looks like. And that's what I felt like. You go through breakthroughs and they are tiny sometimes, but there's a huge weight there. But Shrinking understands that healing is not cinematic. It's awkward, repetitive, and often invisible to the outside world, but it is happening. Nobody stays broken forever. There are bits of us that we can rebuild. Now, season 2 builds on everything that season 1 did brilliantly, and it deepens it. Jimmy's learning how to be a dad again. Paul's coming to terms with his morality. And Gabby is finally learning what it means to love herself, not just the chaos around her. And there's an incredible moment where Gabby talks to Jimmy, and how their relationship develops. It's funny, but it's profound because it's the truth for so many people. Healing doesn't make you perfect. It can just make you function again. And sometimes that's all it needs. That sort of, right, I'm back in the zone. But it continues to walk the perfect tonal line between heartbreak and hope. Every time you think it's about to get too heavy, it hits you with a joke that reminds you that laughter has to be part of healing. You have to find that happiness in grief, because if you don't, it's a lonely road back. I just want to mention the feel and the look of the show. It's a warm, sunlit Californian suburbia. It's bathed in soft light and it feels therapeutic in itself. And the world is trying to comfort you as these characters are falling apart and piecing themselves back together as we go through. The cinematography gives space for silence, and the show isn't afraid to linger, to let a scene breathe or to let a conversation hang in the air. That trust in the audience is what separates good television from great television. We've got a great use of music here, acoustic tracks, indie melodies, and the occasional quiet piano piece that gives this show that nostalgic soul. Every needle drop feels intentional, like the song has been waiting its whole life to play over this specific scene. It's intimate, it's quiet, and it is perfect. Liz and Derek, though, goals. As someone who spent years watching shows come and go, I can tell you that Shrinking has that rare quality that most writers, I'm sure, dream of capturing. It's got that authenticity. It's not trying to change television. It's not trying to shock you. It's not going viral. It's just trying to tell the truth. Grief is messy. Love is complicated. Friendship is therapy. And laughter is the key to survival. And those are the truths that this show and what we should live by. But it's coming back, and I'm so grateful that it is, because the second season, it did end with that sense of resolution. But there's still so much to explore. We've got Jimmy's finally coming to terms with who he is, but what does that mean when he's no longer the broken one? Can he still connect with people when he's healed? Paul's health, I'm sure, is going to take centre stage here. And honestly, I'm bracing myself for some heartbreak. You know, his performance has been too real, too personal for it to end without any emotion. Gabby, she's going to be a wild card. She's found confidence, yes. But I think who she ends up with here could be a big part of her journey. The show has always been about growth. And I don't think that they're done growing yet. I'm excited to see what Brett Goldstein does with his character. And if it sticks the landing, then this could easily be remembered as one of the best trilogies in television. And I mean that. It's up there for me with the great TV shows that we all know and love. I genuinely feel that it is that special. But I think what makes it truly remarkable for me is how much it means to people. I can't be the only one that feels how I feel about this show. It made me feel less alone at a difficult time. It made me laugh again after loss. I know what loss is. And that's why this matters. It doesn't tell you that everything's going to be okay. And I'm not going to tell you that. You know, there's a much braver message there. Do the work. Jimmy yourself, should I say. But when I think about this show and how it hit me the way it did, I realise that it's because it understands something fundamental about life. People are just trying to be good people. We're trying to be good parents. We're trying to be good friends. We're trying to find that purpose in life, and through pain and suffering and all of the things that life is going to throw at us. And even when we fail, even when we fall apart, the people who love us, they're still there. But they're trying too. And that's Shrinking. It's the art of trying. And my God, does it try and succeed very well. I can honestly say that I haven't loved a show like this in a long, long time. It's the kind of series that doesn't just sit on your watch list. It lives in your head. You think about it on long drives. You remember lines at random. You just feel comforted by knowing that if you've had a bad day or you're experiencing grief, it's a friend. It's the perfect storytelling. It's not flawless. It's honest. And every time I finish an episode, I just feel like a weight's been lifted. Like someone has just told me, you're not alone. And you never will be. And maybe that's why it's become one of my favourite shows, because it has helped me through incredibly difficult times in my life. But it reminds me that all of us, and healing is not about getting rid of the pain. It's about carrying on with it and learning to live again. And sometimes you got to laugh at it as well. It's the best medicine, and that's what makes it special. That's what makes it human. So if you haven't seen this, please do yourself a favour. Sit down, watch it, and let it hit you, because it will. Every single time. If you've already seen it, tell me your favourite moments. I think Eat a Dick Pam could be one of mine. Derek is just such a good character. But this is Gedgehammer Reviews. This is TV. And until next time, I want you to keep smashing through those stories that matter, whether it's TV, film, print media, whatever it may be. But just know, we're all here for each other. So let's enjoy it. And as always, keep on smashing. Have an amazing day. I will see you soon.